Welcome back to Vegan World Radio. Our first guest tonight is Mr. Kip Andersen. He is the star, co-director, and co-producer of the movie Cowspiracy, which is a very important movie about how the big environmental groups we have come to trust are letting us down in a big way by hiding a big secret from us. Kip is the founder of Animals United Movement, an organization dedicated to creating films and media that promote sustainability, compassion, and peace for all of Earth's inhabitants. Kip has also built more than a dozen businesses, pretty amazing, a point to which we will return if time permits later in the show. Kip, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. We're very pleased to have a rising vegan star here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
So, of course, we'd like to talk about Cowspiracy. You know, even before I saw the movie, I was wondering why these groups like Greenpeace and Sierra Club never mentioned animal agriculture, even though I knew it had such a horrible effect on our planet, you know. What really pushed you over the edge on that to make this movie?
Well, the one thing that when you watch the film, it looks like it was just a few months of trying to contact these environmental groups after I found out this information. But in reality, the very, very first part of the film is a little bit of a recreation of really what started to happen for me 7 years ago, now almost 8 years ago. And, the film follows my journey of finding this out and then trying to figure out why these organizations that I supported would not talk about this. So rather than months, it was actually years and years of emailing and trying to contact them for any information, and they would not do it. So for many years, I wanted to make a film on this. I thought someone else actually would, but no one did. And it just had, finally hooked up with Keegan, and the timing was right, and we powered through it and did it.
Yes, it's really quite a shocker of a movie. Most people would assume that these groups that they've, grown up just about knowing and loving and trusting would betray them in this way. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really bizarre, and the number one thing, it's across the board. It's not necessarily even just one campaign or one, especially like someone like Greenpeace, where they have separate entire divisions, one that focuses just on the ocean, focuses on rainforest climate, and this is a one-stop shop for every single one of them, yet they will not, properly address this. It's tucked way deep inside their website to find any information whatsoever. So it's just unbelievable.
So why do you think that is? Why are they silent on this issue?
Well, it's multiple-fold. I'd say overall the main thing is they don't think it's a win campaign, which means they don't feel it'll get them more donors and more money. As we say, profit over planet. They're more concerned with the sustainability and the growth of their own organization than that of the planet. And, since making the film, we actually came across this elaborate marketing paper that was made for, I don't know what group in particular, but we got a hold of it. And it showed the whole study was that if telling the public and having a campaign about what animal agriculture and eating meat does to the environment, if it will result in, essentially, as you say, a win campaign, if it will result in a success or not. And the conclusion was essentially that it wouldn't, which is so, if we found this during the making of the film, we would have had it in there because it shows how more even ridiculous it is. It's like if someone's dying of lung cancer, yet the doctor doesn't want to tell them to quit smoking cigarettes because he's afraid he might go to some other doctor.
Right.
And, it's just unbelievable. So, and then other than that, many of these heads of the organizations and the very top donors, they do eat animal products. They do eat meat. They say grass-fed and organic dairy, but as you see in the film, that it doesn't really matter. So I think that's another part. They have to change internally before they can start telling what other people can do. And I think that's actually a really big part of it as well that we noticed. Is that internally within the top tier and all throughout the organizations, they need to do this first before telling other people. At the time, it was really hard to even get our foot in the door at any of these organizations. One, people didn't know who we were, and honestly, if they did, I don't know if they would want to talk about it. So, people ask if we try to get a hold of Al Gore. Of course, we would have loved that, but it was tough to get who we did. We were pretty excited to get people like Michael Pollan and the directors of as high up as we did. That's part of, as you see in the film, kind of giving a little bit of away, but, Greenpeace at the beginning promised not only one of them, but all three of their departments would individually give us interviews. And, San Francisco is a pretty tight community, especially in the environmental world. A lot of these organizations do cross over and work together. The word got out that we were simply doing interviews by asking about, essential, simple sustainability questions. And at that time, they did decide to pull out of the interviews because they did not want to talk at all about anything to do with animal agriculture, which is unbelievable because it's not like we were setting these organizations up. All we were doing is asking them, what are the major driving forces of environmental destruction? As simple as that. And they did not want to talk about it. So in a way, I just feel, again, that study that came out, where I'm not sure what organization they did it for, if it was just across the board, that they just don't feel it's a win campaign, and they want to have the organization be as profitable and as big as possible. Why? I'm not sure if they're not doing the job that they're intended to, but of course they do incredible work in other fields. But this one huge thing really needs to be a major focus. It's not number one, at least two or three, and it's not right now.
Ironically, some of the ranchers you spoke with were quite honest and open about the environmental consequences of what they were doing. So tell us a little bit about your experience with them, and was everyone nice, or did you also encounter some hostility?
Everyone was surprisingly nice, and some people, we were surprised to hear what we did. For example, when we interviewed the biggest, at least I think in the entire West Coast, the biggest organic dairy farm, at least in California, I believe, we did not expect to hear the CEO say that dairy is unsustainable, and then their head farmer of all the organic dairy farms we could go to, they chose that one, and him to say the same thing. We were blown away to have this honesty come from them when we're trying to get the same answers from these environmental groups who just did not even want to talk about it. With the dairy farm, talk about directly affecting their products and what they sell, and yet they're still being honest, and they're from the industry, and then to have environmental groups not talking about it was just really bizarre. But it was refreshing to hear some of these honest farmers, and we had a lot of respect for that.
So you're there in the middle of California, and obviously the big drought is going on. Tell us about how you view the way the press has covered the drought, and just generally how you think things are going to turn out in the next few years.
Well, it was really frustrating for many years, as I'm sure all of us can attest to, but especially last year when the drought was really starting to get momentum and not being talked about. And that's right when our film came out, and it still wasn't at all. But one of many just incredible signs how this is all turning, and it's happening at a rapid pace, this entire transition or transformation of whatever you want to call it to the next level, is this year the combination of the film and whatever. I think that just the timing is right. Now we're getting asked by pretty big affiliates. Democracy Now!, one of the biggest nonprofit, it shows in the entire country. They had a feature on us, and we were on there. And Bakersfield, the hub, Kern County, the hub of animal agriculture, NBC Bakersfield is going to do a whole story on this topic.
Wow.
So it's really nice to see that this is finally starting to happen. It's coming out, so it's actually being talked about a lot. Even Jon Stewart, and you hear it a lot, and not as much as it can be, but again, it's in its infancy, and you're going to see a lot of talk over these next year or two about all of this.
I know me and my friends, we like a lot of things about Amy Goodman, but her coverage of animal agriculture and vegan issues we're not so happy about.
That's why it was good to hear Kip was on, and Keegan, I believe, we're both on Democracy Now!
Yeah, we're both on, and that's, I think, one of the reasons, which is so cool, is that so many people we heard that when we got there, so many people who saw the film started writing into Democracy Now! Because, a lot of people were really frustrated, me included, with their lack of coverage for years. And so, but, they finally did it. Now it seemed like it's a big turning point. It turned out to be one of the most popular shows, of one that was most shared and talked about when you go on their website. more than almost any story the past few weeks. So that was, really good news.
That was great. You guys did a great job on that show, because other before that, all they did was interview Michael Pollan over and over and over again.
And he would only tell probably not the whole story. He'd probably talk about grass-fed or some sustainable way, right?
Right. So I guess for you, your life has been before Cowspiracy and after Cowspiracy. Is that true?
Yes and no, but as I say, this was a long time coming, so it's just exciting to see again how the information, the message that we've all, I think a lot of us have been in this together, that it's just a group thing that we're all doing together, and I think that's the most fun thing about this. Is I guess the pre is you kind of feel like you're isolated and alone, or with your few friends when this comes out and you realize, oh man, the timing is right, and we're all doing this together, and it's happening so fast. So I guess the post, where we're at now is I just feel part of, a big team. And I think a lot of people feel the same way, that we're all doing this together rather than isolated. So that's the real exciting things that are happening now.
That's true. We all are working together on a common cause, and a very important one. Do you feel deep down that things are really turning in our favor?
Oh, absolutely. There's some big news with distribution for this film that I would love to share, and it's close to coming out. It'll be announced right around a month, and it's huge. It's really, really exciting, and that's going to just really take the lid off of this, where millions and millions of people all around the world are going to be, learning this information that never would. Again, it's tough. I wish I could share the news, but you'll find out. So. And other than that, again, everywhere we travel, and I travel around the world, seeing this change happening so fast, and all the, everything from the new restaurants coming in to what's being talked about on massive, media like Jon Stewart and on, NBC, that never was even just a year ago. I really just see it happening really, really fast, and I'm definitely optimistic and realistic about it too. It's not overnight, but it's happening really fast. Yeah.
So do you have some other projects? I mean, you're a big business starter. What other things do you have going on?
We are working on, Keegan and I are working on another project as well as still working on Cowspiracy. It's still kind of under wraps right now, but, later in the year we'll be able to announce other projects that we're working on. And other than that, just helping with the film and doing anything we can. So I guess stay tuned. The main thing is, stay tuned, sign up for our newsletter on Cowspiracy.com, and join our Facebook page is phenomenal. We have, a lot of environmental groups that we've talked to. They get most of their environmental news from our Facebook page, actually. Yeah. So, Cowspiracy.com, and we have an incredible facts page. If anyone forgets something that's in the film, their facts page is really, really solid with tons of sources. So it's a great source place to go to. I wish we had. It took a long time. We just actually updated it to just this past week. So it's the most up-to-date sources and very, very solid, because we're getting ready for this whole distribution thing, and we had to really lock down our sources. So it's as strong as ever. Next week I'll be I think it's next Saturday already at Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, and I'll be doing an hour-long presentation on some of those facts and talk about that. And it's going to be a great event there at Renee's place, Rowdy Girl Sanctuary out there.
Yeah, do you have anything else you want to say about perhaps the future of veganism and the future of the planet? And one thing that I've been wondering, Cowspiracy, I'm sure, and other things you do have had a huge positive effect on the world out there in terms of seeing the importance of protecting animals' rights and protecting the environment. What are some of the things you found to be have the biggest impact on people in this regard?
The biggest impact on this regard of just overall?
Of getting people to want to go vegan, getting people to see the importance of animal rights in the environment and things like that.
I think that's what, was an inspiration to see, is to make this film, is that not everyone cares about ethics, as we all unfortunately know, and that angle is quite hard to do because people just don't want to know. But environmentalism, that whole route, it's a little bit, it's something that's a little bit more approachable, because it's, again, when you watch the film, we don't really talk about ethics on purpose. It's really logical do we want to survive? Do you want your children to survive and to sustain and to live in a thrivable world? Whether this was, Twinkies were destroying it, or whatever it was, it just so happens to be that raising animals for food. So I feel a lot of people really relate to that because they realize it's beyond, we try not to make it an animal rights film, which is not an environmental film. But then, in general, people ask me that question, what's the best way to get the message is you ask questions about who you're talking to and who your audience is, even if it's just your family. And either people care maybe about ethics or their health, which is a whole other issue, or the environment. And, we have a lot of resources, whether it's Forks Over Knives or our film, where you can say, for me, my family wouldn't listen to me, but they watch the movie and they go, wow, why don't you tell me this? I'm like, I have been for years. Showing resources that someone else says it rather than, you. I think that's what people really like about the film is they say, oh, now it's something I can show people where it's not me saying it, it's actual real data. So I'd say just everyone's different, but everybody has one of those three usually strikes a chord, whether it's health, environment, or ethics.
Yes, that's very true, and that's something that I've just started my own little group, and we're trying to learn that skill, how to find the right message for different people, And as you said, people will respond in different ways to different things. And if we really want to be successful, we have to have a lot of great preparation and give our approach a lot of thought. And, just do whatever we can to get the word out.
Yeah, and it's happening, and thanks to you all doing stuff what you're all doing, it's really happening now. So it's great to see the fruit finally bearing, or was it the tree bearing its fruit? So it's time to keep on going and to enjoy the wins because they're happening a lot now.
Well, Kip, I know you have another interview coming up shortly, so we're going to have to let you go. And from everyone here in the studio, thank you very, very much for being with us tonight.
See you all in a week.
Okay, awesome. Okay, bye-bye.